So here are some of the sentence types that we can use for a setting description. I'm going to write an example of each one, and I'm going to focus on the technique of zooming in. So I'm going to start with quite generally describing the scene, and I'm slowly going to focus in on the specific detail that I can see in the picture. So my first sentence needs to have a fronted adverbial. Fronted adverbials go at the start of a sentence, and they give you more description on maybe where something is happening, when it's happening, or how it's happening. I think for mine, I'm going to talk about where we are. So I'm going to say hidden behind the dunes. And that's my fronted adverbial, so I need a comma after it. The oasis provided the only water for miles around. So I've started quite generally telling my reader where we are. Now for an inference sentence, that's a sentence where you want to show your reader what is happening rather than telling them. I want to talk about the sun setting, but I don't want to just say the sun was setting. So instead, I'm going to say the sun was starting to cast long shadows as it disappeared behind the horizon. So there, my reader can clearly tell that the sun is setting, but I haven't specifically told them that. A short sentence needs to have a noun and a verb, but it doesn't really need to have more than that. So mine is going to be the heat. So the heat is my noun, eased off as the sun is setting. It could be shorter than that. You just need a noun and a verb. So it could be time stop, the wind howled, anything like that. So an informal parenthesis is where I'm going to use a dash, and I'm going to bring in my author's voice to add a little bit more description, maybe add an extra bit of detail. So I'm going to say, ants crawled across the sand, dash, they were everywhere. And that dash, they were everywhere, is that informal parenthesis where I'm using my author's voice and adding a bit more description. So prepositions are words that tell you where something is. So things like next to, under, in front of, behind, between. I'm going to use between in my sentence, I think. So I'm going to say lizards started to emerge from between the bushes. And you can see so far I've really zoomed in. So I've started with a very general description of the oasis and the sun, and now I'm zooming into the ants and the lizards, so a specific part of that picture. And for my last one, I need an expanded noun phrase, so that's where I'm going to have an adjective and to describe a noun. So I think I'm going to stick with the lizards. I'm going to say that they're sandy scales, so that's my expanded noun phrase. Sandy is my adjective, scales is my noun. Allowed them to be perfectly camouflaged. And there you go. Those are all the sentences that you might need to write a setting description.